Hello, welcome to Ask Miss Mears, where we answer your most burning questions and solve your most nagging problems. I won't always know the answer, but I'll know someone who will. It's August 5, 2020, just 1 month after mid year, and just 1 month before Jose Marichan threatens to start being heard on the airwaves, ushering the Christmas season on September 1. On top of all the strife and stress brought about by the pandemic and the political chaos, looks like we have truly reached Jumanji levels. I'm sure you saw the footage of that ostrich running for its life in a Quezon City subdivision yesterday, being chased by a goat, which is said to signify all of us running away from 2020. Will a mid-year check-in make us feel better when people say 2020 should just be canceled? Here to shed light and to help us make sense of our lives so we can move forward with hope and joy, we have life and career coach and founder of Your Heart-Crafted Life and my former boss at Summit Media. Please welcome Aurora Mangubat Suarez.
Hi,
Hi,
Mirza.
darling. Hi.
Hello.
How are
Hi.
you?
I'm good. Nice to be here. Nice to see you, even if it's just through
I
just through the
know.
screen.
How are you? How is 2020 so far for an actual life coach? Are you coping the same way that we are? Maybe I'm sure you are coping better than all of us.
Yeah, that's the funny thing is that life coaches are human too. So yeah, we went through the same, well, I personally went through the same fears and anxiety, especially when the lockdown started. And so that was interesting because I thought, oh no, I have all the tools I need and I'm prepared for this. But I mean, you're human. No one is prepared for this. This is, Evan
Right.
uses that overused word unprecedented. So
Yes.
yeah, even if you have all the tools, everything, all the emotions will still come up.
Right. I'm sure you guys are super fully booked because so many people are grappling with anxiety and depression. People have lost their jobs. And Jack Ma actually said just focus on survival. So, how are we all gonna? They say that the most useless thing is the 2020 planner. Itapon na raw yan. Kasi walang use.
In fairness, ginagamit ko pa rin siya.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think what I found so interesting is that there's been a lot of different experiences with the pandemic. Some have really found their creative flow during the pandemic, I guess, given
Right.
having been given time to pause and to rest. Others have put up, dormant ideas, like things they put aside in the past and said, "Oh, if not now, when?" And
Right.
that's when they do it. And for others, they're actually thriving during the pandemic. I just was on a chat group today, and we were talking about promotions, and they were saying, "Oh yeah, we're promoting our team, we're promoting people, and we're not laying off." So it's really, and of course, there are people who have lost their jobs and who are now looking and going through that process of finding a
Right.
job during this economy. So that's what I find so fascinating is that the experience has been, really runs the spectrum, whether pandemic or not.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So you've been a life coach for 5 years now, right? Or
Um, yeah, so I got trained. I trained in 2015, but I actually started going full time about 3 years ago. So I was doing it as a side hustle for
right.
about 2 years, and then I decided to take the leap and do it full time 3 years ago.
So what's it been like? How many people have you helped, and how has it changed you and them?
Yeah. Oh my God. In terms of number of people, I've helped quite a bit. Yeah, I was going through my files today because I was trying to, just make some space. And yeah, so I was surprised that it's been quite a thick file. Actually, two file folders already. So, yeah, how has it changed me? I think it's so different from my former life of being in the corporate world.
Right, right.
Yeah, so I think what's the biggest change for me is it's really been one of service. Like there's no tangible output like in the corporate world. So I worked in Summit, and then I also worked in retail in a bookstore, and I worked in consulting. So those are always had tangible results. This one,
Right.
it's really more, um, it's like really going deep, like going like in your personal growth it's really all about that personal growth, self leadership, self discovery, self love, all of those things, and that's really not tangible. Although my clients tell me, oh, I found a new job, I've got the baby, I've set up the business, so those things are like, when I hear it, I'm like, wow, it works, it works.
Wow. And would you say that you're the same Aoi we once knew, or not the same Aoi we once knew?
I think I am. I don't know. I think I am not the same Aoi, but at the same time I still am. I think yeah, because I guess when the corporate world, there's always that, especially if you're a leader, you kind of had to put on like a face or
Right,
a
right,
persona, like a leadership persona. And I guess that's what I had to do to kind of
right.
and now I don't have to put on a persona. I can just really be like, okay, let's be me. And some people will resonate with me, and some people won't, and it's all good. Yeah.
Well, I have to admit that in the beginning of the lockdown, I felt a lot of pressure to be productive. Like you said, so many people have found creativity, and they're able to work on the projects that they put aside. In the beginning, I felt so pressured, like I would, of course, comparison is the thief of joy, right? And so when you look all over social media, parang, wow, somebody's writing a book, somebody's doing workout videos, and they're cooking up a storm, and I just want to lay on the couch and not move. How's that?
And
What
watch
do you
Chloe.
say to people who are going through the same thing?
Yeah, that's one of the things. Is that for me, there's this Netflix show which I have not watched. It's called "It's Okay to Not Be Okay," and I have not watched it, so I don't know if it's any good. But I love the title so much, and for me, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to lie down on the couch if that's what you're being called to do. It's okay to start your creative projects if that's what you're being called to do. Um, I think really, yes, you're right. Comparison is the thief of joy. If social media is triggering you, it's okay to get off and not be there, because don't force yourself, because again, it's such a weird time, and really, it's okay to just be to honor what needs to be honored and what's coming up for you.
Right, but now that we're gonna do a mid-year review, will it be like very painful to see? Like, let's say I saw your CNN interview for 2020, and you said envision the kind of life you want. And now, 8 months later, what if we're so far behind our goals? What are
Right.
we? How are we gonna cope with that?
Well, I think it's really about allow that the goals can change, allow that your
Right.
vision can change, and be okay with it. It's just so it's yeah, I think what I found interesting is at the start of the year I did best year ever workshops, and when I reached out to the participants, and I'm like, oh my god, here I am telling you it's your best year ever, and 2020 happened, and for so many people, how can this be your best year? And when a lot of them reach back and they're there, oh my gosh, it has been a great year for me. I'm dating. I'm like, wow, you can date in the pandemic, and or my career is growing, is thriving. It's like a lot of some of the intentions that they set for themselves, actually they're making it a reality. Or for people who are struggled because they set that intention for themselves, and I guess that's one of the things, is that more than the vision for your year end, maybe what you can hang on to is your intention for the year.
Right.
And that was what the workshop was really all about, is really to come up with a powerful intention, and whatever happens, whatever circumstances, whether it was pandemic or whether, we can also travel and have our plans happen, you can still hang on to that, and that can still be your guiding force for the year.
What's an example of an intention?
Right. Yeah. So usually at the start of the year, we set New Year's resolutions like I'm going to lose 10 pounds, or I'm going to
Right,
work out
right.
3 times a week, or I'm going to save money for this, for a trip, or I'm going to travel to Ganyan, or I'm going to get promoted. So those are usually the resolutions. An intention really goes deeper than that. It talks about who you want to become, how you want your year to unfold, and why. So for me, for 2019, I'm like thinking, what year na ba are we? But for 2019, my intention was, so I used to do word of the years. So parang
Okay.
before, that'd be like growth or whatever, growth, adventure, yun mga ganyan. But I found it very limiting. Kasi for example, with growth, I was like, what does growth mean? Parang my body grew, but my business didn't. I'm like, wait, I said the wrong word.
Growth
So,
sideways.
correct, growth sideways. So I said, you know what? I want to expand that. I really wanted to be an intention. So last year, my intention was meaningful expansion. And that was really meaningful expansion for me as a person, and meaningful expansion for my business. So so that was when I did a lot of outreach to not outreach, but I did a lot of workshops with expats. So that kind of expanded my world.
Right.
And I also did a lot of corporate gigs. So it was so interesting that like how my world unfolded to kind of match my intention. For
Right.
2020, sorry, my intention was, it's really funny. It's joyful trust.
Wow.
So I said that.
Mahirap yan ngayon.
Said, yeah, that's what's so interesting, because joyful trust for me meant trusting that how my life unfolds is really for my greatest good, and being joyful in it. So trusting that, and so I found that so interesting that became my intention. And look at how the world turned upside down, and
Right.
yeah, and it worked out. Yeah.
How hard to be joyful when you're fearful. So maybe
Yeah.
you can teach us as we
Yeah.
go along. You also said that you don't like the word should, because
Yeah.
it puts a lot of pressure. Like, diba? I'm sure at the start of the year we all had a lot of shoulds. I should by now have blah blah blah.
Right. Yeah. Again, I don't like it because it really comes parang from a place from outside of you. It doesn't come from inside, because if it comes from inside, it's I choose to. Like
Okay.
I choose to be joyful. I choose to still follow my intention of joyful trust despite all of this. So when you choose, it becomes more you're responsible for it, rather than I should, meaning everyone tells you, oh, you should lose 10 pounds, or oh, you should grow your business, oh, you should accept this speaking gig, oh, you should get promoted. And it's like, why?
Right.
But then if it's no, I choose to work hard so that I can help my boss, help my customers, help my clients, help the mission of the company, then it becomes something that's really personal, and becomes more meaningful and more motivating, because that's what other people say, hindi ako motivated, not
Oh.
motivated. Kasi should nga you should exercise.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So if, let's say, exercises, I choose to exercise so I can live longer, so I can build my immune system, so I don't
Right.
get sick from COVID.
Right.
You
A
know?
word
Yeah.
a word that you do love is gratitude, and for you it really works wonders. Could you tell us how?
Yeah, one of the about 10 years ago I went through a really difficult personal period in my life, and I went through counseling, and one of the exercises that he gave was to start a gratitude journal. And I was really going, "Oh my gosh, that's the corniest thing. Parang Oprah says that, 'di ba?" And I'm like, "It's so corny. I don't like." But when I actually started doing it, and it's really simple. You basically just write five things down. So the operative word is you have to write it down. Write down five things that's specific to the day. So for example, like I would be grateful for this opportunity to be with Miss Mears this afternoon. Yeah, so and what I noticed was that by shifting my energy to the good things that are going on in my life, parang it's allowing me to see that there are good things, but it also is allowing more good things to come to my life. Again, like all things, it doesn't happen overnight. It really took a while. Like I was really like weeks into it, I'm there, nothing's really changing. But as the months and years go by that I've been doing it, it's really been, oh, I get it. It's, they there's this thing that they say, what you appreciate appreciates. So so by noticing the good things, you're really putting your energy and your thoughts on something, on the good things rather than the negative.
Right. So you can get past the corniness of it.
Yes.
Do you
There's a
promise?
reason. It's corny and those cliches, but they really work pala. So parang just keep an open mind.
Just try
So,
it.
yeah,
Okay.
just try it.
Hopefully, also, they'll keep an open mind as we launched into our 5 questions for their mid-2020 check-in checklist. And this is something you do every mid-year,
Right.
right? To
Yeah.
see how far you've come in achieving your goals, or not necessarily
It's
achieving your goals.
it's not necessarily achieving my goals. It's really more of how I lived out my intention. So
Right.
basically, what activities did I do in the last 6 months that helped me live out my intention? Yeah. So basically, and so so and then what moving forward? How can I continue? Or what activities should I do over the next 6 months to continue making my intention a reality in my life?
Okay, let's start with number 1, which is reset. What parts of your life need a reset?
Yeah. So I chose four or five R words for
Five
my
R's, yes.
for my mid-year check-in this year. And I said the reason why I chose different questions this year is because yun nga, everyone's experience has been different. So you can toss out. So what I used to do even was do a mid-year like financial check-in or a revenue check-in with my business. But yun nga, because so many plans have been canceled that I said, okay, I need to kind of have different metrics for myself. So this is one question, which is what parts of your life needed a reset? So Mirza, what parts of your life needed a reset? Since this is Ask Miss Mirza.
I think my health has regressed. So I keep
Okay.
resetting every week. Because of the stress, I'm prone to stress eating. I mean, I'm always striving to be healthy. You know that, right? I try to eat healthy, try to exercise, but the different stresses that have happened throughout the year, parang, okay, all the bread baking and all the people send
Right. All the
all
ayuda.
kinds of yummy ayuda. Parang every Monday na lang reset my eating. Paano ba yan? So, help. What are your tips in how to reset if you keep on like falling back on your bad habits?
Right. Yeah. Well,
Paano ba
first,
yan?
I think acknowledge nga that this is a weird time. Acknowledge nga that, and maybe ask yourself why am I eating? Like why am I? Let's say it's that like why am I eating so much? So obviously it's stress, and maybe are there other ways that you can use other ways that if you can other ways that you can use so that you can manage the stress. I
Without
mean, there's
stuffing your face.
right. Maybe, yeah, because I know that one of the things that you are a very creative person, so maybe really leaning into your creativity. So maybe after I write like one paragraph, or after I write for 20 minutes, that's when I'll eat. And maybe the
Right,
urge to eat will pass. So parang giving yourself like parang shifting from your the habit of eating to maybe another
right.
habit you want to build, like there your creativity, or maybe even your community, like maybe, oh, let me check in on a friend. And then
Okay.
after checking in, it's like, okay, then sige, I'll eat na. Or maybe, okay, after 10 minutes of workout, sige, I'll eat na. 10 minutes, kaya ko yan. Kahit 10 minutes. And again, it's really all about small steps taken consistently. It's not about, kailangan 1 hour, kailangan I have to be there for my friend for 1 hour, kailangan I have to write my novel and finish a chapter today.
Right.
Yeah, kahit 10 minutes, okay lang yan. And then maybe then from there you can eat, or maybe you'll find that the urge has passed.
Especially
But
if you're a type A personality, right?
yeah,
You sometimes needlessly put so much pressure on yourself.
right.
So, is it just a matter of replacing bad habits with good habits?
I think it's a matter of understanding why the habit is there.
Right.
And in fact, with everything, I'd like for you also, because yun nga, we're type A, to maybe even reframe it. Like, is it really a bad habit? Like maybe it's just a habit, that you don't need to call it good or bad.
It's a
And,
bad habit.
it's just a brand habit. It's just something. And maybe nga at this point you need to be feel comforted, and bread will always give you comfort. And so if bread is giving you comfort but making you feel not great, what else can give you comfort but will also make you feel great?
Right. What
So
are some of the aspects where some of the people that you have helped identified for a reset?
so career has been one of them. Like I recently launched something called Midlife is Not a Crisis. So
Oh,
so that's for women who are approaching midlife. And so a lot of them are also questioning, like do I actually, is this all there is? I want to kind of remember who I was, and how that's been buried under all my roles. So that's one of them. Career, or parang the priorities, like do I need to choose between this, like family or work? So all different things that's that come up, and or even like just self kindness, and
right.
just, or even self discovery, like I've been putting myself down all these years, and I don't know anymore, like I can't even move forward with the things I want to do, because all I hear is you're gonna fail, you're gonna fail, you're gonna fail.
Right.
So so those are the things that need a reset. For me personally, I put nga my health and even my emotional health. So
Right.
I had to kind of like in that start of the pandemic, I took no clients, which may have been not great for business, but I took no clients for about a month, because I had to deal with my own feelings, with my own I had to come from a place of wholeness when I serve my clients, and I felt like I wasn't there at that time.
So number 2, we have rediscover. What did you rediscover about yourself and your life during the quarantine?
Yes, so Mirza.
This is my second.
Yeah, let us ask Miss Mears.
I
So what did you
discovered that I need to be forced to do things,
Oh,
or I may not do them. So
oh,
I have devised sneaky ways to trick my mind because I'm so prone to procrastination and laziness, which is probably because of procrastination, which is probably because of fear of being judged. And so I would try and make things happen by involving other people. For example, uh, my fiction writing has kind of stopped. It stopped in 2006 after I won an award, and then I just completely stopped, and I never had any more time. And so what I did was I enrolled in a writing workshop with Cristina Pantala Hidalgo, and without thinking whether can I, do I have time, whatever, I just signed up for it. And so then I was forced to attend the classes, and now they're online classes, and I was forced to submit output, and there is like pressure from not just the teacher but the other students. Ganyan. So for example, yon. Or like before, the reason I was able to work out regularly was because I would book sessions with a trainer. Otherwise, nothing would happen. And so now that the gyms are closed, sometimes nothing happens.
Get a Zoom trainer.
So
Get your trainer on Zoom.
that's what I
Yeah.
discovered about myself. I need to force myself by tricking myself. I don't know.
Right.
Does that count?
Yeah, no, that's great. No, and again, um, that's great because there's self-awareness, and I think it's and like Elizabeth Gilbert, the one who she wrote
Right.
Eat,
Eat,
Pray,
Pray,
Love, and
Love.
she wrote Big Magic. She's always talking about you can be a trickster or a martyr. So
Oh,
she says it's great to be a trickster. Is that because sometimes your mind or your fear is so powerful, and even if you like I have all these tools to deal with fear, to get past the voices of fear and take courageous steps. But sometimes, fear really takes has a very loud voice.
right.
And yeah, and so she said sometimes we just need to be tricksy, like be a trickster. She was saying a Brené Brown, um her process of writing is really like parang she's parang bleeding
Right.
talaga when she writes
I
a
feel
book.
her pain.
Yeah, as in talagang parang mamamatay na to write her books, and her books are fantastic. And then she realized that the way that her trickster trick was that she actually talks she talks better than she writes. She's a
Okay.
speaker, not a
Right.
writer.
Right.
So what she did was for one weekend, she had a deadline. She needed to write a book. She she would speak in front of friends. Like she and her friends hold themselves up in a cabin, and she spoke to her friends. They recorded her. She ran back, listened to the recorder, and typed it out. Then she would read it back to her
Oh,
friends. So
okay.
basically,
Right.
parang understanding yourself, like understand, oh, I need an accountability partner. I need other
Right.
people. I'm a
Right.
better speaker than a writer. So parang you can kind of be a
Right.
trickster, and it's okay.
Right. What are some of the things that your clients have rediscovered about themselves?
What did they rediscover? Ako na lang because I usually
Ikaw na
don't
lang.
talk
Okay.
to my clients.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
So yeah, but it's okay. Yeah. What I've rediscovered about myself is well, first I want to thank my past self
Oh,
I'm like, oh, thank you for for being for choosing this home to live in, because I said this home and this community has kept us safe during pandemic. So where I live, they really made sure that everyone was safe, and so that I said, oh, thank you, past self. So I said I rediscovered my home. So I thought that was nice. And again, I rediscovered nga my creativity. Yeah, so I did a creative challenge, a 30-day creative challenge with one of my friends. No pressure. Every day we just do something creative, then send it to each other via
right.
Viber, and that
Yeah.
helped build my creativity. So I think with this rediscover, and actually with all the questions that we're talking about this afternoon, I think the way to approach it, and maybe the way to approach the pandemic and life, is to look at it with the eyes of curiosity. Like parang, what's coming up? Why is it like this? Like be a 4-year-old. Why am I feeling like that? Okay, what can I do about it? Kaya, okay, I'm not in the mood. Why kaya am I not in the mood? Really look at it with the eyes of curiosity and not of judgment. Like, you're so ganyan because, you look at this person, she's so much more ahead than you. It's really just look at it through the eyes of curiosity. Like really be a 4-year-old about your life. Like, oh, interesting, that's why I'm like that pala. Oh, interesting, I need partners, I need other people to make me do things. Sige, the game. I'll get other people.
What if your 4-year-old self asks, why are the people in government that way? How do you
your
stop from doing
your
so
four
anyway?
year old happily your 4-year-old will never ask that. Really, I used to have, she's 10 now, but I used to have a 4-year-old. Wow, she never asked questions like that.
Why are they not helping us? How do
Yeah,
you stop yourself from being so affected
right.
by the
Yes,
outside world?
I know. I protect my, I guess I kind of put some boundaries
Right.
and protect, like if it's too triggering or if it's too, I say, okay, I don't need to know that. That doesn't belong in my space. Like, again, if you're committed to creating a safe space for you and your family during this time, are those, knowing about that, will that help in creating safety? I mean, it's
Right.
good to be informed, but at the same time, there's also when you cross over and you're just massaging the anger, and it's
Right.
not adding to
Right.
you feeling, making everyone around you feel safe.
Right. Or maybe the serenity prayer na lang. Like,
Right.
can you change or not change?
Right. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Number 3. Wait, di ko
Okay.
mabasa.
So, yeah. So number
Remind.
3
What
is remind.
did you learn in the last 6 months, and what important lesson do you want to take with you?
Yep. So,
Okay.
yeah. Oh my gosh, remind. Parang I did not write about remind. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh,
So Miss Mirza, what did you
no.
learn? What important lesson did you learn in the last 6 months?
That I need to not think about the judgment of the outside world and just do what I need to do and put one foot in front of the other
Yeah. No, that's great.
and
That
just
is
walk forward with blinders and
that's a good
try
lesson.
not to be affected. And Lourdes Vera told me yesterday, kaya tayo takot sa judgment kasi mapanglait tayo. So we're imagining kung sino yung mapanglait, nag-imagine na nilalait. So
Yeah.
it's really hard to take off, but there,
Yeah. So
that's the
maybe
lesson I'm trying out.
Yeah, so maybe start less judging yourself kasi that comes from, yeah. So parang, yeah, like even naming habits as bad or good. Like it's just a habit. And does it make me feel bad or good? Make me feel bad. Okay, I won't do it now again. But it's not a bad habit or a good habit. So again, it's really about that, parang that whole curiosity. Yeah, and I love that. I love put one foot in front of the other. Just sige, game lang, miss. I learned from you. Yes lang ng yes. So yes
Join
lang
lang
ng
ng
yes to
joy.
you. Yeah, join
Yeah,
lang ng
sometimes it's
joy.
hard to practice what you preach,
It
but
is.
yeah. Because I
Yeah.
also realized that how come the fearlessness that I had in my early 20s seems to have disappeared like decades after? Then I realized when you're young, you don't know what's out there. You're so naive.
Yeah.
And so you're more brave, right? And then as you go through life, parang, oh shucks, the world's a scary place pala. And then you kind of lose the courage. What's your advice for that?
Well, again, yeah, I always it's funny because I always do this thing where I actually work with clients now. We have a conversation with fear.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we actually write letters to fear, and I guess it's really knowing that fear is courage is not really about lack of fear or not having any fear, which is what we thought when we were younger, na parang, ay,
Right.
wala akong fear, game lang. But parang now as we're older, parang it's not, it's really parang, success is, Winston Churchill, I don't know if he really said this, um, success is not final, failure is not fatal. The courage to continue is what counts. So
Right.
basically, it's really all about just moving forward despite the fear. And I think that's what's so interesting now about as we get older, that it's not anymore yung wala akong takot, but more of may takot ako pero game pa rin. Join lang ng join pa rin. Yeah, and one of the things that I do nga is I really have a conversation with fear. What are you trying to tell me? What are you keeping me safe from? What do you want me to know right now? And
Right.
and then even thinking about, and then even digging deeper and saying, what's the worst that could happen? Will I
Right.
die? Will anyone in
Right.
my family die?
Right.
if 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 hindi, will the zombie apocalypse come? Hindi naman eh. Like,
Right.
so then you can survive.
Right.
If no one is, if the worst that can happen is people talk about you, then are these people we care about? Are these
Right.
people who love us? Obviously, baka no. So, you know, so then do they matter? Or do
Right.
or of course they matter, but do their opinions matter?
Right.
So yeah, so it's really it's that. So I have a, yeah. So when I feel fear, like it's always sige, let me write it down. Let me write a letter to fear, and parang sige fear. And what do you need me to know by right now? And then from there move. I also do a list, like I'm scared that blah blah, and then I
Right.
try to um reframe it. Like if I do this, so let's say I'm scared to host a podcast where I interview amazing women like Mirza, and then I'll say, oh, but the chance to interview amazing women like Mirza is so exciting and fun because I can learn from them and everyone can learn from them. So parang it's
Right.
reframing
Right.
that. Yeah.
So does it actually help to think of the worst case scenario
I
for
do
a
because,
career?
yeah, I do because sometimes, when you do, you're like, ay, it's not so bad.
Okay.
Yeah. Like
Right.
you think about what you've survived already in your life, and you
Right.
think, what is the worst that happened to me in my life? Is that worse than that? Ay, hindi naman eh. So I can survive this.
Okay. Right. So
Yeah.
for COVID fears, so really think about what is the worst talaga, right? Either you die or
Right.
a loved
I mean,
one dies.
right. So if that's the case, then rethink. Like for example, will I going around maskless or going to a party? Okay, will someone die? Yes. Will I die? Possibly. Okay, wag na lang. Then because make another choice, make a better choice. Yeah.
Right. What are the lessons that you have learned?
The lessons that I have learned is um yeah, that basically what's so interesting is because in the past I was always like kind of saying, why are things not moving as fast as I want them to be? Why, like you, I'd be comparing myself. Why is this entrepreneur parang she's doing so much better and we're at the same stage, we launched at the same time, or when she was at this stage she was already doing this much and me hindi pa rin. So I was always wondering about that, na parang why nga ba? You have to move faster, you have to scale, you have to get bigger, you have to hire
Right.
employees and all of that. And then during COVID, I realized, oh, there was really a reason. Is number one, if I had employees, I would probably have had to let them go
Right.
because I would not have had enough income at the start to have been able to pay them. If I had scaled, apparently I would have had more expenses, like an office, like like all these things. So I said, oh, there's I guess my biggest takeaway is that I'm really being cared for, even if I don't see it yet. Like there's really there's really parang a purpose to the pace, to the to the pace of it all, or to how my business is unfolding. And I
Right.
guess it's part of joyful trust. So trusting that. Yeah.
So it's all also looking for the silver lining or
Yeah, I
the
guess
blessing in the sky.
it's
Ikaw
more of parang I guess it's being grateful again. Like, okay, I'm grateful that I have this and that I don't have to deal with that. Yeah.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, and then when you say what important lesson do you want to take with you? So you just choose among
yeah.
the
It's you choose, or
lessons.
you can take the if it's just one lesson, just take it on with you for life. Yeah,
Okay. Next is repair.
right.
What
Yeah.
part
So
of your
Mirza.
life need
Yeah.
compassion and healing? I did not realize this is my session pala, free session.
Free session. Yeah.
I guess
So what part?
the critical inner voice,
Hmm.
right? Like I
Yeah.
used to copy edit other people, and I guess I'm copy editing my life and my actions, and so yeah, the inner judge and inner critic has helped me do well in life and I guess succeed, excel, but sometimes it can be unforgiving.
Right. Yeah. Again, yeah, there's a role of the inner critic. Yun nga, parang in I guess when we were in summit, there's really a great it helped us. It helped us parang be where we were
Sure.
because it really pushed us. But at the same time, it also I feel like it was unsustainable. Like it's not something that you that at a certain point you're like pagod na ako. Pagod na ako listening to you. And so parang it's you want to yeah, I think it's really giving yourself more empathy and compassion. And yun nga, if being so hard on yourself was really the path to greatness, parang then we would all have been so great already. pero pero hindi, like it's really like knowing when to push yourself, but again coming from that place of wholeness, and rather than pushing yourself because you're coming from a place of lack, or coming from a place na you don't measure up, you're not worthy,
Right,
hindi ka
right.
magaling, or because that's really parang okay. Parang then who do you want to believe?
And
Talaga I'm not
especially
worthy.
if you had helicopter or dragon or tiger
Yes,
parents, right?
right. Yes,
That's a
and that's
hard voice to remove from your
right.
head.
Yeah, those are really sometimes I'd ask my clients, because a lot of the women who come to me are women achievers, and it's really the inner critic voices are loudest for women achievers. And I ask, whose voice is that? Your mom, your dad? And sometimes they'd say, oh, it's my teacher who wasn't so nice, or yeah, it's my mom, or it's my dad. So it's iba-iba talaga, and we really have to. And I really ask, is that true? So yun mga, you're not worthy. Is that true? No, I am. You're a failure. Is that true? Actually, no. So it's really asking, like, is that true? Is that true? No, it's not. No, it's not. So yeah. So
But
asking your inner critic voice, parang that's not true.
right, besides judgment, what are some of the common aspects of life that need compassion and healing?
I guess sometimes it's your body.
Oh, right, right,
Yeah. So maybe, especially if you've been feeling sick, if you've been feeling, run down, parang maybe it's time, especially now that, we're all at home, maybe how can I be compassionate towards his body instead of looking at it as an enemy, or looking at it as, um, you know, just just as a container, or just something we're
right.
fighting with all the time. But really, oh, I love you. From head to toe. Not You're not an enemy. You're someone that houses me. That's part of me, and you're not an enemy. So I think any part of your that you hear that you're hating, I guess, about
Right.
yourself. right? Or any parts where you're saying should. You
Right.
should do this. You should ganyan. Maybe check what do I okay, what kind of compassion do you need? What do you need to be healed? Like, yeah. So maybe your body, maybe it's your relationships.
Right.
Yeah, especially now, especially if you've been living with people and they're driving you, you're getting irritable with them. Like parang okay, what parts? How can I be compassionate towards myself, and how can I be compassionate towards that person? Um,
Right.
maybe maybe even I don't know. It's hard, but maybe even our government. I don't know. I know it might be a controversial thing to say, but you know, our country really needs compassion and healing.
Right.
Yeah. So but I
Right.
guess focus first on you, and then how can you give that compassion? So, whoops, my headphones. How can you give that compassion and healing to the
Right.
world?
I
Yeah.
know of a lot of moms, especially during the pandemic, working moms especially, not only have to work from home, they have to manage the home and help the children with their homeschooling, and they're lucky if their partner is helping, and if
Right.
not, they kind of absorb all the work and the stress,
Right.
and maybe that's something that needs compassion, or maybe they should also ask for help
Right. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
and not
So
put it all on
on themselves.
themselves.
Again, yun nga, because it's if you're an inner critic or if you're an achiever, sometimes you know like how you are in the office. Ako lang ang gagawa because it's
Right,
faster and I know it better. But
right, right,
then how do you know that for sure? Maybe that person can actually help and has a better way of doing it. Might not be your way, but it might even be a better way.
right,
Or or really like okay, not everything will have to be perfect at this time, like
right.
maybe the home can be a bit messy, and because I just need to rest, I need some compassion and healing for myself. I need the 10 minutes to exercise, I need the 10 minutes to eat, to bake bread. Yeah.
So maybe compassion is also about asking for help and setting boundaries, you think?
Right. Yes, definitely. Yeah, but again, it's seeing that um I need, like, noticing that okay, how am I feeling, and what is contributing to this feeling. And then because sometimes it'll just be you're lashing out na and you're like kailangan ko tulong dito 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 because
Oh,
it's overwhelmed. But when you come from that place of compassion towards yourself, you're like, oh, let's I know, like, I know what kind of help I need, because I can't do this. And this one I'm better at. This one I need help from either your kid, your husband, your partner, your boss, even
right,
your colleagues, your team, your staff, the staff underneath
right.
you in the office. Like I need help. Even maybe the building guards na, you know what? Pwedeng yung mga deliveries ko, well, can you hold this na lang so no one's calling you? Si Grab
Tama.
nandito na, si Grab nandito na, and I'll just go down once a day, just call me once a day, pa-hold na lang, 6 o'clock pick up ko. Like,
Tama.
even little things like that.
Right,
Ask for help.
right. Great. And then we come to the fifth and final R, responsibility. Are you ready to embrace the idea that you are responsible for all the choices that brought you here today? So, kasalanan pa rin natin.
And again, it's not about kasalanan. It's really about your choices. Again, as adults, no one has forced. No one
Right,
is. You do your choice. And again, don't label it as bad choices or good choices. They're just choices. Again, like me choosing to run my own business, that comes with pros and cons. The pros
right,
are I have my own time, etc. I can build the business that I want. But the cons is every 15th and 30th, hindi like that's not, you're not, you don't get a sweldo on the 15th or 30th. You really have to um you know work and so on. And so those are choices that I made. And if I stayed in the corporate world, I will get that safety and security of benefits, healthcare, all of that. So again, no good or bad choice, it's just a choice. and
Right.
and if where you are today, you're thinking, I'm not where I want to be, maybe it's time again, look at it with curiosity, not with judgment. Na, what choices did I make that got me here?
Right.
Um, and what new choices can I make so that I can move forward? So there, maybe a simple choice can be, I'll take 10 minutes to write. I'll take 10 minutes, or I'll sign up for a fiction writing class because I know that I need people to help me.
Right.
Or I'll ask help from my partner or from my husband to with the kids, or I'll ask help from the teacher so that para less homework, like, so that, because I'm also working full time, or so that. And again, without labeling na kasalanan or bad choice, this is a bad choice, it's just a choice. And it
Right.
comes with positive consequences and negative consequences. Yeah.
Right. So let's say you're in a relationship that you're not happy in,
Right.
right? So you should embrace the idea that you are responsible for being in that relationship still. Because, well, I've been there. Sometimes uh, people not happy in their relationships are always complaining, and yet they're still there, right? So it's ultimately their responsibility to change their happiness, make the choice whether they want to remain or leave, right?
Right. Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah, a relationship is a great example for this one. And again, um, it's really, yeah. Maybe there are pros. That's why you don't want to leave. Is that they're positive. Positive positives to being in that relationship, and
Right.
maybe positives are better than the negatives. So maybe looking at it there, oh, sige, then maybe I should stop complaining. Yeah. Especially again, we're adults, so no one, generally, I think maybe 98% of the time, no one has told us, kailangan mo tong gawin. No one has literally held the gun to our head and said. I mean, again, 98% of the time, I'm sure there's been some, but where we people that we were forced to do something. Again, we're adults.
Right.
So if you've made a choice, maybe you can make another choice,
Right.
moving, or you can reframe the choice now, where you can say, oh, bad, I'm okay with this choice, pala.
Right.
Yeah.
Which brings us to, what new choices can you make to create the future you want? Okay,
You're right.
please
Yeah.
explain and elaborate.
Yeah, so I guess this comes from looking at what kind of future they want. So what really is, yeah, one of the things that I like doing is looking at the future self. Like, one of my favorite questions is, imagine you're 80, what would you most regret not doing?
Oh,
Um, yeah, so if then, let's say you have an answer, and then what new choices can you make so that thing, your 80-year-old self will not regret and will actually thank your whatever age you are now self for doing.
so for you, what was your scenario at 80? What
Oh, for
were the
me, yeah.
things that you did not want to regret not doing?
Yeah, one of my things is really, well, I've always said I wanted to publish a book, and well, since I was a publisher, I did. So I published the Sunday Night Journal, so
Oh,
which I
yeah.
did, yeah. And I also, so that was one of the things that I said I wanted to do that. But now I leveled up. I said I want to be published by a foreign publisher. So foreign publishers, yeah. So those are, like, that's one thing that I said. Oh, I want to be, but again, I'm like thinking, is that a should? Is that coming from a place now? Oh, because you self-publish, it's not worthy. But I'm still, I think, no, it's just maybe me challenging myself that, okay, you can get published by a foreign publisher. So that's one of the things. And I guess the choice that I make around it is, you know, yeah, right, which of course I'm not doing also. That's right. Yeah. So yeah.
Or how do you also reframe your goals? Let's say, of course, we grew up in an era where being asked to publish a book by an outside entity, let's say a foreign publisher, is of course held in higher regard than self-publishing. But then these days, everyone's self-publishing, even great people are self-publishing. These days, parang it's not such a bad thing. How do we come to terms with the changing perceptions or changing our own perceptions about, again, the shoulds, what should and shouldn't be?
Yeah. I think it's really coming back to why you want that goal. So it goes back to knowing. I guess it's that whole thing of start with why. Like
Right,
why do you want it? Is it coming up from a place that you're worthier? If a foreign publisher says you're worthy of being published
right,
by us, or is it because, you know, or is it more of no, I want to because I want to just challenge myself that I can do it. So it's, I think, really going back to your why and understanding that. And I think once you investigate it, it might come up, you might come up with interesting things, and you'll be like, maybe okay nang self-publishing. I mean, you might be, I'm okay with having this goal shift because my why pala wasn't from came from that place of some needing someone else to prove that I'm worthy when I already know that I'm worthy, or when I
right,
already know that you need someone else to say I'm a success, but you're like, does that really matter ba? When you're already, let's say, helping people, or you're already achieving, doing the work that you want to do. Yun parang
right,
say like this, let's say being published by a big publisher, does that mean oh, you're better than all other Pinoy authors? No,
right,
then yeah. No,
right,
no, also, yeah. Yeah.
right.
So I think it's really going back to your why.
Or for example, di ba now, parang not just maybe this year especially, biglang dami ng life coach,
Yes, yes,
lahat
it
na
is.
lang,
It's
lahat
the
na lang may,
shawarma of careers.
lahat na lang may talk show, di ba? O lahat na lang author, lahat na lang self-published author, lahat na lang model, lahat na
Ay,
lang photographer.
correct. Influencer.
How do you help yourself believe na no, it doesn't matter kung madami na or ginaya ka or diba, you're doing the same thing. How do you come to terms with that if it's debilitating you from trying new things?
Yeah. Again, going back to what we talked about, it's really, yun nga, comparison is the thief of joy. So it's really, you're so unique. You don't bring your own experiences. Like I don't like other coaches. Some of them are young, a lot younger than me, but then so I bring naman some experience. I bring my experience in the corporate world. I bring my experience as a leader. That makes me unique. And I bring my own life experiences to my coaching career. So it's really being, I hate to use it, but authentic. I hate to use that word, but it's really it's just that it's parang bringing your own unique perspective, your own unique point of view. Like there's really no other Mirza who can bring in your own perspective as someone who has modeled, someone who has you know coached and trained all these editors, someone who has edited, someone who has been awarded a publishing prize or a writing prize. Like all of these things, like you can bring to the table, and it'll make you different from other coaches. And again, you don't need to be everything for everyone. You'll really
Right.
be who you people will resonate, will be drawn to who you are, and it doesn't have to be the whole world for you to make a good living or a decent living from what
Right.
you do.
So everyone should just take a look at their unique gifts
Yes.
that maybe they
Yeah.
don't see. Will it
Right.
help to have others point them out to you?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think really. Yeah, I think really looking at your unique gifts will really be a great starting point. Like I always say, look at your strengths because that's what makes you you, and look at what you love. Yeah,
We
really
have
look at yeah.
question here from Judy Ann Estrella Trino. They say posting on social media means you're not happy. Is that true? What's your take?
Oh, okay. I don't know. I post on social media and I'm fairly happy. Yeah, again, let's not judge people's motivations.
Right.
Again, be curious, like, oh, that content is resonating with me, or that content is not, and feel free to follow or unfollow who is not making you happy. Maybe,
Right.
yeah, maybe go back to yourself. Is this content making me happy? Not happy? So then just, or maybe if social media itself is not making you happy, then take a break from it.
Or maybe she's pertaining to, there are always all these studies, right? About, I remember there was a study on couples who constantly post on social media are usually less happier than those who don't
Oh,
post. But then that's
yeah,
one study.
yeah.
Or but
I
maybe
yeah,
it points out to the fact that sometimes to mask some lack, people are prone to cover up or exaggerate or, you know, uh,
yeah,
embellish.
yeah.
Maybe that's what she means.
Maybe, yeah, yeah. Sorry, I'm not a social media expert. I'm barely on Facebook. I'm really more on Instagram. So, and because again, Facebook makes me unhappy, makes me not happy.
Oh,
So so I'm on Facebook now, but it does not, it makes me not happy. So I'm barely on it. But so yeah, so but I cannot speak on everyone else's experience. So this is my own personal experience about social media.
right. And what do you advise clients who are triggered or affected by social media? Do you advise them to also set their boundaries and
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Digital detox always works for me, especially when you feel like all the voices you're hearing is not your own anymore. Like you're hearing all the voices and you're like, wait, what thoughts am I thinking? I think I'm just thinking someone else's thoughts already. You don't know what you're thinking anymore. And you're all like, you should do this, you should be ganyan, you should then parang maybe a digital detox works. I take two every year. So I take one in the whole of January. So the once New
wow.
Year starts, I'm off social media for a month. And during Lent, that's my that's what I give up for Lent is
Oh,
social
okay.
media. Yeah. So I really those are two periods. So that's around a period of 2 to 3 months that I'm off social media in a year. And it's oh my God, it's amazing. you really you gain back so much time.
What does this do for you, like for your mental health? You don't
Yeah,
feel FOMO?
yeah, I don't feel FOMO. Yeah, I really, but I guess maybe I don't feel FOMO. Um, but my husband's still on it, so I ask, oh, what's happening? you know, or yeah, and then I feel like I don't know, I just gain back so much time. So that's when I can create, I read more, I can spend time, doing other things that instead of, just mindlessly scrolling,
Right,
I can actually be intentional about how I spend my time.
right. So just to recapitulate, number one, reset. What parts of your life need a reset? Number two, rediscover. What did you rediscover about yourself and your life during the quarantine? Remind yourself of the lessons that you learned in the last 6 months and choose which lessons you want to take with you. Repair parts of your life that need compassion and healing. And number five, take responsibility for your life choices that brought you where you are today, and think of the new choices you can make to create the future that you want. So those are the 5 R's of life coach Aurora Suarez. To end, what is your final advice for all the viewers doing their own mid-year review?
Yeah. So I guess to end is number one, be curious about your life. So I really approach it from that space of curiosity. Number two, be gentle with yourself. Again, have compassion. That this is such a weird time, and you don't need to be hard on yourself. Maybe that brought you to a certain point in your life, but maybe there's a way now to actually, and maybe that's what we all need is to find a new way of moving forward, because the world seems to be sick literally, and
Right.
maybe there's a new way of kind of doing things in our lives, from a space of gentleness and compassion.
Right. Thank you
Sorry, did I
so
get
much.
cut there? Yeah.
Oh, no. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yeah. So wait, just one last thing. I know it's Mirza's. Yeah, it's Mirza's outfit credits, but you can find me on
Oh, I'll put the
auroramsuarez.com.
yes, I'll put the
Yeah.
tab. Oh, Aurora M. Suarez. So please put an M, auroramsuarez.com.
Yeah.
Your Heart Crafted Life on Instagram, and Aurora M. Suarez on Facebook. Thank you so much.
I'm barely there. Yeah, thank you, Mirza. And thanks everyone for watching.
Thank you for helping us clear our minds, clarify our direction, and giving us the resilience that we need to, how did you put it? Move forward with joy and hope.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mirza, for this time.
Thank you.
Okay, bye everyone. Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone. Thank you, everyone. This has been Ask Miss Mears, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.